My name is Noel. I'm a psychotherapist. Welcome to this short video looking at bullying at school for children, how you can spot it, what the signs are, why it might happen, what you can do about it, both as a parent or carer, and how you can help your child. It's common, but it's not as common as you think. So bullying does exist. Think about a couple of examples. There's a young man, we'll call him Spencer, just so that we protect identity. And he was doing well at school, and suddenly things shifted, and there started to be complaints about his behaviour, and his grades dropped off. Nothing had changed at home or anything, but his behaviour at school seemed to be very worrying. The parents were worried, and the teachers were worried. It turns out he was being physically punched and kicked and cornered by a group of other boys. And this had turned things around at school. He was sort of falling off. That's quite sort of common story out here. And then there was a young girl, let's call her Morgan, say, who and she just suddenly became very depressed and withdrawn. And isolated both at school and at home, having been a very outgoing and popular girl for a while. And as it turned out, what was happening was that sort of a group of girls in school were spreading rumours about her that weren't true, and online on Facebook and things like that were saying things about her that weren't true. I mean, there was a good resolution in both cases. I'm going to take you through some of the signs of bullying and what you might be able to do about it. It's going to be very brief because I need to keep the video short. But the full text is going to be on the website, so that sort of gives you a slightly more in-depth sort of analysis of the situation. I just want to start by saying that it is more than possible to do something about the situation if it's happening to your child. So why do children bully? It's often learned behaviour, for example, or it may be that the child who's leading the bullying in the gang has been bullied before, and this is their way of making sure they're not vulnerable to that. It may be a case of things that have been happening at home to that child. Often there are reasons. It's rare in my experience, and it just, for the bully, comes out of nowhere. There's usually something behind it. It's not an excuse for it, it's just to understand it. It's also to understand that if your child has experienced bullying, you may want to watch out for that in them, that they go from victim to perpetrator. Sometimes, if you're the parent of a bully, you want to know what's going on. It may be because your child has experienced it, and rather than punish them, understand and try and get them help around that. So how do you identify bullying? Well, the difference between that and teasing is normal. Kids do that all the time. It depends on the level, of course, at which point you step in. And if you've got more than one child, you know that your kids are always teasing each other. And as adults, we do it as well, letting off steam with each other. The difference between teasing and bullying is that bullying is intentional and sustained. Often happens in groups as well. So it's unlikely that it's just one person having a fight with another person, which may be a personality clash. So it's the group nature of it, it's the intentionality of it, and that's the difference. And the sustained nature of it. And what are the signs then? Well, typically the signs in children are changes in mood and behaviour, sudden, quite dramatic, often changes in mood and behaviour, dropping off at performance at school, for example. Problems with sleeping, depending on the age of the child, maybe they start to bedwet or even have nightmares and sleepwalk and so on. Or if they're slightly older, maybe become aggressive and challenging at home in ways that you've not seen before. Some of those behaviours, it depends on the development of the child, may be associated with physical changes of adolescence, for example. So sometimes it's difficult to see. But you know your own child, and if there's a sort of a sudden change in some of those core behaviours, don't ignore it. So how can you help them? Well, I guess the most important thing is that you need to listen and not jump in. A good way to get kids to open up about this stuff is just share experiences from your own life when you've been frightened, or maybe you experienced bullying when you were a kid yourself. Being vulnerable role modelling healthy vulnerability in that way is a great way to get your kids to open up. And try not to be too shocked and dramatic about the stories. Reassure them that you can help. The best way to help is to go through the channels. Most schools do have anti-bullying procedures in place. I would very much counsel against you going to see the parents of the bully and having it out with them, or indeed encouraging your child to stand up for themselves and have a fight in school with that child. It's a popular myth, but it generally ends up with both children being in serious trouble if a fight starts. It doesn't matter why, but the school will come down quite hard on that. So don't get into that. Just remind your child that you're the parent and you can be responsible for this. Document everything, really keep a diary of events and incidents, and encourage your child to come and talk to you about it. If you don't get help from the school, they don't have policies in place, which would be odd, then what I suggest you do is you go beyond them to whoever controls that local education area. And get legal advice if necessary, because there is a duty of care towards protecting children when they're at school. So teach your kids coping strategies in terms of managing their anger. You don't want them acting out on it. Anger is inevitable, I suppose, in situations like this. So managing those feelings, teach them help-seeking behaviours such as talking to adults about it, how to avoid the bully, not to get caught up in sort of fights, so learning to walk away and hold their head up high, and by ignoring and not feeding the behaviour, you're more likely to reduce the incidence of them. Restoring the child's confidence, so keep giving them positive affirmations and positive things to do. You don't always get them out of the school, and the situation doesn't always resolve itself immediately. So positive activities that you can get them into which restore their self-esteem and their self-confidence, and listen, and then listen again, and then listen again, and then listen again. Time in a loving relationship with you will help to heal many things. I hope that's helpful. I hope the video hasn't been too long, and that you found it useful. Do go to the website and check out more tips on how to spot and deal with bullying. Hope that see you again another time. If you have any issues that you want to talk through about this, please do give me a call. 07 506 319 745. 07 506 319 745, or info@noelmcdermott.net, or the contact information is on my website. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.